Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching moment when you realize the person you trust the most has betrayed you? I have. My story isn't just about heartbreak. It's about how I turned that pain into a cold, calculated masterpiece of revenge. It all started with something as trivial as hotel loyalty points. My wife, let's call her Sarah, and I shared everything, including a joint hotel rewards account. We traveled a lot for my work, racking up points for our dream vacations. One evening, I was planning a surprise anniversary trip to Hawaii. I logged into our account, and my heart stopped. There were recent frequent stays, at a boutique hotel in a city just an hour away, a city I hadn't visited in years. But the points were there, undeniable proof. My mind raced. Who? Why? The dates of these stays lined up perfectly with her girls' nights or late work meetings. A cold dread washed over me. I wasn't just sad. I was furious. But I knew reacting emotionally was what she'd expect. No, I decided to play the long game. I had to gather irrefutable proof, not just for myself, but for the inevitable legal battle ahead. I started by acting completely normal. Her guilt was a visible shadow in her eyes, but she played along. Meanwhile, my secret investigation began. I installed discreet software on our home computer. It wasn't long before her emails and messages painted a vivid picture. The other man was her old college friend, Mark. A guy I'd met, a guy who had eaten at our table. The betrayal felt like a physical blow.
No.
Their messages were sickeningly sweet, filled with plans and inside jokes. They talked about their special place, that boutique hotel, even mocked me, calling me oblivious and work-obsessed. Every word was a gallon of gasoline on the fire burning inside me. I saved everything, screenshots, emails, chat logs, and backed them up in multiple secure locations. But I needed more. I needed something that would hold up in court, something that would leave no room for doubt. Our state is a no-fault divorce state, but proving adultery could still influence asset division, especially since I had funded our lifestyle almost entirely. I hired a private investigator, an old-school professional, who was worth every penny. He was discreet, thorough, and in just 2 weeks, he delivered a folder that was the nail in the coffin of my marriage. It was filled with high-resolution photos. Sarah and Mark, holding hands, kissing, entering that hotel. Photos of them dining at a restaurant I had wanted to take her to for her birthday. Pi even managed to get a copy of the hotel registration, signed by Mark, with a note on the reservation for a bottle of champagne for Mrs. Smith, using my last name. The sheer audacity was staggering. With all my evidence compiled, it was time to plan the endgame. I didn't want a simple, quiet divorce. I wanted to detonate a bomb in the middle of the perfect life she thought she was building behind my back. Her birthday was coming up in a month. She had been planning a huge party at our home, inviting all our friends, family, and my important business contacts. It was the perfect stage. I played the part of the doting husband, helping her with the party planning. I suggested the caterer. I picked out the playlist. I even designed the digital invitations. She was so wrapped up in her secret life she didn't notice a thing. She thought I was the same predictable, boring man she was cheating on. She had no idea she was planning her own social execution. The day of the party arrived. Our house was filled with people, her parents, my boss, our closest friends. Sarah was radiant, the perfect hostess, laughing and greeting everyone. I watched her, a hollow ache in my chest, but my resolve was like steel. I waited until everyone was gathered in the living room for a toast. Sarah handed me a glass of champagne, smiling brightly. My amazing husband wants to say a few words, she announced to the crowd. I stood in the center of the room, raised my glass, and began. Thank you all for coming to celebrate my wonderful wife, Sarah. I paused, looking directly at her. I've learned so much from her this past year. For instance, I learned that loyalty isn't always a two-way street. And I learned just how creative she can be with her late nights at the office. A confused murmur went through the room. Sarah's smile faltered. Her parents looked bewildered. Mark, who was standing near the back, started to look pale. I continued, my voice calm and steady. I also learned the name of a lovely little hotel, just an hour from here. It has a great rewards program, by the way. Sarah has been a very frequent guest. I then gestured to the large screen TV on the wall where a family slideshow had been playing. With a click of a remote in my pocket, the slideshow changed. The first image that appeared was a crystal-clear photo from the pie, Sarah and Mark kissing passionately outside the hotel. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Then, a collective gasp. Sarah's face turned white as a sheet. Her mother cried out her name. The slideshow continued, cycling through the most damning photos, them holding hands. Entering the hotel lobby, their intimate dinner. I let the images sink in for a moment before speaking again. As you can see, Sarah has been very busy. So busy, in fact, that she's been sharing her affection with our good friend Mark over there. I pointed directly at him. Every head in the room swiveled to look at the now-frozen Mark. So, instead of a birthday toast, I said, my voice dropping, I think a different kind of announcement is in order. Sarah, you're being served. On cue, a man I'd hired, dressed as a server, walked through the stunned crowd and handed a thick envelope to my wife. Inside were the divorce papers, along with printed copies of every email, every text message, and every photo. I had also included a detailed breakdown of how she would be getting nothing more than what the law absolutely required. Her affair, while not illegal, had been conducted using marital assets, a point my lawyer was very excited about. Her father, a man I respected, looked at me with a mixture of shock and pity, then turned a furious gaze on his daughter. Her friends, the ones she had lied to about her girls' nights, stared at her with disgust. My boss just gave me a quiet, supportive nod. The social fallout was immediate and catastrophic for her. The party emptied out in minutes, leaving Sarah standing alone in the middle of her own wreckage. The divorce was brutal for her and surprisingly smooth for me. The evidence was so overwhelming that her lawyer advised her to settle quickly. She walked away with almost nothing. Her affair with Mark fizzled out almost immediately under the weight of the public humiliation. I heard he moved to another state. I sold the house, quit the job that required so much travel, and started a new life, a simpler one. Was my revenge harsh? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Not for a second. She didn't just cheat. She built a life of lies and disrespect. I didn't destroy my marriage. I just turned on the lights and revealed it was already dead. Some people might say I should have taken the high road. But sometimes the high road is a dead end. Sometimes you have to burn the whole thing down to find your way out. And from the ashes, I rebuilt my life on my own terms. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone and you have the strength to get through it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories. See you next time.